All right, guys, girls, welcome back to Mental Break, where we talk about issues affecting men in our society and where we get to unwind and, talk about our day and so on, just to relax. It's hard out there in these streets.
Yeah.
What's up,
Unwind.
guys?
I'm good. I'm good. Promise I'm not gonna say I'm cramming.
Yeah, but you said you're cramming anyway.
I've been doing my exams, right?
Oh, okay,
I have
cool,
two
cool,
more
cool, cool,
remaining.
cool.
After that, back to work.
And guys, I know you see somebody new on set right now. We have the man, the myth, the legend, the guy behind the camera. Jefferson, what's up, man?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Voice
good
at the
evening.
back.
Everything has been good so far, so good. Can't complain.
Yeah, man.
It was an off day today, so just relaxing.
All right, cool.
Good shit.
Cool. What's up?
Yeah.
man?
Everything's good, A bit tired, but hey, it's time
Yeah.
to unwind, all as well. All right,
That's
so
cool, man.
let's get into it. What's the topic for today?
All right. Yeah, so basically the topic today is problems in general affecting us men. This can be job, finances, being a father. A few of us on the panel here right now are fathers, navigating, dating, just in general, the problems that we face. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Not bad.
Damn.
So, what do you think are the problems that men face? Oh well, you can speak from your perspective.
I think probably the biggest one, and something we touch on in previous episodes. We can say we have previous episodes. No?
That's crazy.
But something we touch on in previous episodes is just, that pressure to be the provider per se. And I know we say equality, all of that, but the fact of the matter is you feel, well, me at least, would some men feel somewhat inadequate if you can't provide.
Yeah, I hear that.
You feel a pressure from society to meet a certain financial standard.
Yeah.
I don't know, what you guys think
Man,
about?
a lot of times I'm at home when I'm by myself and just trying to relax, just thinking about a lot of things like you say, money wise, trying to do different things to support my family, because I do have a son, and I try to always think of different ways that I can just set him up for the future, because one of the things that I told his mom when we had him is that I don't want him going to any public schools and them kind of stuff. While public schools can be good, to me, the teachers don't focus enough on the student. They don't give them that one-on-one communication that they
Attention.
need and so on, and the proper attention.
But it's not only.
So it's I make sure that I put aside money and so on, every week, so that I can make sure that I'm sending him to a good school so that he can get a good start off.
Well, it's not necessary about the school, because
I understand
I mean,
that. I understand that,
I've
but
known
still.
some people who've been to private school and they still turn out to be bums. You understand? It's
Thought
not
you was
about
going another direction.
but then
with
it's
that.
no, but
Is
it's
the
not.
case.
It's not about the school. It's usually about the size. Because if you're in a class and the size is literally too
But
big,
then that's the thing. In a public school, it's going to be the case where you would have more kids in there than a private school.
I
You
won't
know what I
say
mean?
so.
More kids in a classroom, bro. Serious.
Nah, I won't say so. I won't put that line between public school and private schools. Usually, it's not about the school per se, because the school plays a role, but also you as the father, you as the parent.
That's
at
what I
home
was going to get
also
on to
plays
as
a
well,
part.
because it's not just me sending him to private school and just the teachers doing their thing. When he comes home to me, I also I have to do my part.
Right.
So it's the case where when he comes home, before school's over, the teacher normally sends a message to the parents just to let us know the homework and so on that he has to go through. And I make sure that I'm there. When I'm not there, of course, I let his mom know.
Yeah. Okay. You see,
Vice versa.
you see, that's why men play a big role in like the upbringing of a child.
But can stick a pen. But then it's
Guy
also
just cut me out just a
it's-
boy.
no, it's also a fact where most families these days they lack a father figure in the home. So it kind of stems from that, which leads to certain problems that men has to go through.
Right. And you know how society will have it? Because they're like stereotypical thing where people say it's mostly black fathers that are missing. But if you actually look back, because there was a study done in 2013 by the CDC, and it says that black men, 70% of black men are actually great fathers, more than the other races, more than the whites, Hispanics, and so forth. Black men plays a major role in the upbringing of their child, and they're more there, even though that they're not actually.
You know, I find that just a little bit hard. I'm not disregarding the studies
because of how
growing up
society and social.
in most of my classes, it was like single parents.
Yeah, but it's not about.
So-
it's not that the fathers actually live at home with their
Or
child.
they're just involved.
Yeah, they're still involved
Okay.
in their child's life. Because I mean, you don't have to really live in the same household, which would be good. But nowadays days, it's not really practical because how men are.
And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to me to be in my son's life as well. Because I come from a single parent household. My mom, she raised me and my brothers and sisters by herself. You know what I mean? And I'm originally from Guyana, and I left there with my mom when I was about 7, came to Antigua. And it's the case where after I left Guyana, I didn't really have that much contact with my dad. And, growing up, it was always a little touchy because it's the case where my sisters, they have a different dad than me. And he lives in America. And, he's always getting in contact with them some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? And I always felt a kind of way because I'm like, why is it that my dad can't get in contact with me just like them? And that just, I don't know, it just built up something inside of me. And I was like, when I do have a kid, I'm definitely going to, even if me and the mom don't agree on most things, I'm definitely going to make sure that I'm always inside
Involved.
my son's life. You know what I mean? No matter if they move and go somewhere else or what the case is, some way, somehow, I'm gonna be in my son's
But you know what's crazy
son's
about
life.
that? Since you don't have both parents living in the same household, and females tend to like start arguments and so forth, and start telling their kids certain things about the father, even though the father is actually playing an active role in their child's life. Females will say, "Oh, men are like this. He's not providing for you. He's not giving no money. He's not doing anything for you." Although you know to yourself that you're actually doing it. So men in general, it feels like it's a stereotypical thing that people like blame us for everything. We don't have the right to even say, "Oh, we're actually doing this or we're actually doing that." It's always what the female says, and people more believe and gravitate to what the female says than what men say. Because even like if men, let's say there's a domestic abuse and the man is actually the one that's getting abused. If we go to court, you understand? I'm not saying that
she can say that, "Oh, this happened, that happened."
Yeah, and they will
And they will
mostly
more
believe.
they
will more lean to her side than
but
our side.
on Stefan point, just with like the blame game and just men just always being in the wrong. Even if you look at more recent events, like we have this Shannon Sharp thing going on, right? I mean, just from the evidence that's been provided so far, it seems like they had some kind of weird, kinky relationship, but she spin it another way, and now he's losing endorsements and his image taking a hit, right? But then when you look on the other side, where you have a figure such as Sheer, I think that's her name.
Mm.
So some kind of singer or something.
Yeah, I think I saw
Yeah.
something about that as
And
well.
she just date younger guys. Nobody look at it or bat an eye. But then, I mean, to be honest, the age difference between Shannon and the young lady, 55 to 19, that's kind of wild. But at the same time, it just goes back to, again, you know, being a man, certain things you just look
Yeah.
at.
And some strange reason, like society doesn't see us as like they don't give us the right to actually be soft or have that emotional side to us. It's always, okay, you're a man, you must be strong. You're a man, you must be the provider. You're a man, you must do this, you must
What do
do
you think,
that.
Jeff?
No, but then that is society in general because society have it like you said, you're supposed to be strong, you're not allowed to express yourself. As a man, they don't expect you to have feelings to begin with. But then that shouldn't be the case because why do you think that the suicidal rate for men is higher than women? Because men aren't able to speak on their problems or things affecting them without being judged on that. So yeah.
Backroom staff?
Okay, so I just wanted to get a general synopsis as to what you guys are feeling in terms of your mental spaces. Do you think that the development of a man is heavily dependent on societal traits or societal norms?
I think so, because it's the case where growing up, you know, you're always taught that because you're a boy child or because you're a man, there's certain things that is expected of you. You know, so it's the case where a lot of the time your parents are going to be like you fall down, you stump your toe or something, and you know you start crying. Oh, you're a boy child, you know, why are you crying?
Yeah.
Rub it off.
Back,
you know what I
back to
mean?
what
So it's
Jefferson was
just-
saying about expressing your
Yeah.
feelings. Because if you're 4 or 5 years old and you say, you're a boy, don't cry. I mean, I just fall down, get a hot patch, this shit's stinging like a mud. And no, it's painful. And you're like, don't cry. You're a boy. This is
Yeah.
something a lot of men. And I'm not saying like, oh yeah, we deserve the right to be like emotional or whatever. But it's just like the conditioning from since we're young.
Yeah.
You understand? So then it has an effect when we
Yeah,
get.
because men carry more weight, responsibility, and we have to protect our social image. So it's not like a sense where we can have a breakdown or anything like that. Because once people see you cry, they think, okay, you're
You're
soft,
weak.
you're not
Yeah.
a man, you're weak. You understand? You need to build
It's just
yourself
another
up.
thing that they can use
Yeah,
against
but
you, you know.
we do also have emotions and so forth.
But if that is the case, do you think that men contribute to their own demise as
in certain ways, I do think we do contribute some part to it, because it's the case where because it's like a cycle. We're growing up one way, so we raise our kids that same way as well. So the cycle just continues because it's the case where this has been going on for so long. It's already inbred into everybody the way that a man is supposed to act and the way that a man is supposed to react to certain situations. Because it's even, I find myself sometimes, even me, you know, when sometimes my son, something upsets him or whatever the case is, and I'm like, bro, sometimes you're too quick to cry. Why is it that you're always crying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the case where sometimes you have to really sit back because when I go and I sit down and I'm by myself, I'm like, you know, I could have dealt with that differently. You know what I mean? And then I try to go back to my son. I'm like, look, I understand that upset you, but you know, sometimes you have to just not everything you have to
Yeah,
cry for.
'cause,
You know what I mean?
We as men, we protect, we support and so forth. But who actually protects us? Who supports us? Who comforts us? Who comforts us when we actually have like issues and so forth? Who does that for us?
Good question. So just on this topic, growing up how we grow up, you know, with all them pressures, how you feel about therapy?
I mean, okay, I've been through therapy, and at first, well, even now, it's hard to open
Because you're already programmed not to open to something.
Yeah, and you're already programmed not to be all that emotion. You know, it's all about how people would judge you. You understand? You're thinking, okay, I'm a man. I know if I say certain things or be a type of way, you're gonna judge me. You understand? And for me, it will bring down my whole morality of a man. You understand? My masculinity is I'm gonna be judging myself also.
Because I always think about this and I'm like, bro, I cannot think about a situation where I'm like, yo, I need to go to therapy and open up about my feet. Like,
No,
I cannot.
I don't.
There's nothing wrong with it because for some people, therapy helps them. You know, releasing it and getting clarity about your feelings and stuff. It offers a different perspective that can help with your decision making in life. But for me, just on how you grow up, like, just the thought of it, like, any issue you have, just
Well, see,
deal with it or just overcome it.
For me, I feel more safe confining it in myself, which is, it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but if there's an issue and so forth, I will literally like have a whole discussion, like a long ass discussion, just to confine in myself, and I'm telling myself what I want to hear. But
Exactly.
it is not
So is that
actually
helping?
healthy.
How is that helping?
Because I'm not actually getting the help that I need. Understand? So therapy isn't a bad thing, but to open up, to break down the walls of your masculinity, to basically shed a tear,
Yeah.
it's hard.
I mean, sometimes it's the case where I think like we put too much pressure on ourselves as well.
It comes back to the previous question.
Yeah.
Do men contribute to their demise?
Yeah, if we
Right.
put too much pressure on ourselves as well, man.
But it's
'cause
because how females would view us. You're a man.
that's
You're
true.
going out into the world. You
That's
understand? You don't want a female to look at you and be like, "So you're not a
looking
man
too
for me.
soft,
You're
you know what I
too
mean?
soft and this and
No,
that."
that's a real point because I was talking to one of my friends. She's going through some relationship drama or whatever, and she was basically saying, yo, his problem, he too stubborn, he too hard headed, he don't open up. So as a joke, I just went behind her and I was like, oh gosh, I work so hard. I can't. And she started burst out laughing. And then she was like, oh, I actually had a guy that would cry to me about all his problems. I left him.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
See, there we
Right.
have it.
so what do you want
There
me
we
to
have
think?
it.
Like, why would I open up knowing that could dry you up? Right?
Yeah, it's very unfair.
Go ahead, Jay. Wait.
Oh, it's not even that too. Like most times, you open up to a female, and then it's gonna be a case where shit goes south, and then that is being
gosh.
thrown back into your face.
Yeah,
So-
that
and-
happens.
oh.
That happens a lot.
It
Yes.
does.
And that's one of the
Gaslight.
reasons. That's one of the reasons why a lot of men don't actually tell
Open
their
up.
significant other
Right.
a lot of things, because it's the case where I tell you something that's affecting me, and then now we get into an argument for whatever reason. Why is it that
Has to come
insecurity
back
of
up.
mine is being
Yeah.
brought up and
Throw
thrown
it
back
in your
at
face.
me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I told you that in confidence. I told you that in a weak state. I told you that thinking that, you're somebody that is supposed to be in my corner, supporting me or whatever the case is, and this is what you're doing.
Yeah, and same
You're
thing with-
hurting me more. You're making that insecurity even harder, even a higher wall for me to overcome.
Right.
You
And
know
it's
what I
now
mean?
it's hard for you to open
Yeah.
to other people now.
Not even just other people. It's hard for you to just say anything. that would put you in a vulnerable position again.
Yeah, because imagine you're in a household, you have your wife, your significant other, you have your kids and so forth. You're struggling financially. You understand? You know to yourself. I mean, you're working, your partner is working. And then you know to yourself, I don't have this amount of money this time to do this or to pay this. It's hard for you to actually ask your partner
Yeah.
for that financial support because the fear of being judged by her. You
It's not
understand?
even about being judged, because just like I say that we put too much pressure on ourselves, it's a case where a lot of the times when you're by yourself and all you're studying is, how am I going to do this? How am I going to be able to support? How am I able to overcome this issue? You're not thinking that, okay, let me go and talk to my significant other and see if we can come to a resolution. We
But-
can make a plan.
Stefan, on your point with the finances, I remember in episode 1 or 2, I don't remember which one, you were saying that if your partner out earned you by a lot, you wouldn't mind, staying at home and doing the dishes and doing the cleaning. And I mean, I don't know if you was being like,
No, hell yeah.
okay. So back on this topic of problems and masculinity and manhood and all this, me personally, bro, I would feel a bit uncomfortable. Not with her success, but it's just like, bro, I feel like I need to do more than just stay home and wash dishes.
What? I don't. Yo, I'll be in my apron with a broom and I'm cleaning that shit.
No, but in that case, I personally wouldn't mind. Reason being, like, yeah, you have different qualifications than I do, so that would lead to you earning more than me. However, it doesn't matter because we're in a relationship, so your income, it doesn't really matter to me. Like where I fall short, I expect you to pick me up. Also, and I would not be a stay-at-home husband, to be genuinely honest with you, because I want my own.
That's
so
fine.
yeah, you able to provide, you may be able to take on more responsibility than me.
But you have to be doing your own
exactly,
thing,
right?
Yeah, that's what about you though?
So I can't be a stay-at-home dad, bro. Nah, because there's no way in hell that I'm going to be at home and doing the housework and doing it. Nah, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel like that's enough for me.
That's fine.
As a man,
You
it's
cook
something
rice
like
again?
a drive.
That's the only thing you can cook.
No, it's like a drive for a man to be able to go out and work. Once it's the case where you're not disabled, you have to be able to go out and work. That's just how I feel.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You see, we have times has changed, you understand? Society has changed. We're moved away from traditional to now it's all modern. Everybody's working, everybody's doing their own thing. We now have to learn how to adapt. You understand? We're programmed to adapt. So I am adapting. You understand?
You're exchanging roles. That's what you're trying to do.
Hell, I don't give a damn. Because females, they don't want to stay at home. They want to work now. Fine, no problem. If men want to now be at home, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, I don't see a problem with that. I'm all for it. You understand?
All right. Well,
If my
we
woman
have some
is
agreement,
making
some
$10 million,
disagreements.
shit, I'm home. I am home.
While we on the topic of money, though.
No,
Go
before
ahead.
that, Julius, take a pin, Stefan. So, what if you're in a breakup? What are you gonna fall back on?
I'm not done. I'm not like some of the women now. They're out there, having this and they're not really saving up shit. I don't care. I'm saving up my shit.
From what you give you.
Yeah, I'm basically taking a little bit off the top every second. Yeah, I'm saving up my shit. I'm not done. I never said I'm being an idiot. You understand? I'm being smart with it.
That's mad.
What I was going to ask is that if you think like your value as a man have a connection to your job, because, okay, like let's put it in the perspective of dating, right? If you're a doctor, oh shit, you're a doctor? Oh, if you're not disrespecting anyone, if you garbage truck driver, now in some cities,
I get what you're hitting.
right? If you have several trucks, you can make money. You understand? But then probably just the idea of that job, it's like, you're a garbage truck driver. I don't. Or in some cases, like a police officer in some states in the US earn well over $100,000 annually, which is good income. But then, you're police. He's a lawyer. Like,
yeah, because you're looking at the status,
Right.
You're
just
looking at the
like if
status
you define your value.
more than you as a man itself. You're not looking at the human. You're only looking what the human has.
Yeah.
You understand? It's only the object you're looking at. It's not actually the human. So, and it's fine. It is fine if I have a daughter, because I have a son, but if I have a daughter, I'm gonna want my daughter to have a good life.
Right.
I'm gonna want you to actually be with someone who can actually provide and take care of you. And that is fine. You understand? But when the roles change now, when we men want this in a woman, we be judged. Oh, that's all you want. This is that, and this is that. Like, fine, but you want money. You want the status. You want my status. You understand? So it is fair that I want this type of female in my image.
So you would think the job define your value somewhat. The
Not
type
really
of job.
define your
doesn't.
value. It define what you can get,
The
or your
accomplishment-
options increase.
the
Right.
opportunities.
You know what I mean?
And that
Yeah.
is why, as a man, when you're going into relationship and stuff like that, it is basically conditioned in terms of what you can bring. So, for example, back to what you were saying, as a garbage truck collector, your options are limited. But then, as a lawyer, the world is yours. So you're basically being loved on a condition of what you can bring to the table. Per
But
se.
be fair, we all can't be lawyers and doctors.
Exactly.
Someone else has to do the job.
That's true.
Understand?
Every job is important.
Right.
I mean, somebody has to do it.
Yeah, and if you
You know
can
what I mean?
value me as a man, I still provide. I still
That's the
protect
thing.
You.
If you're able to provide, if you're still able to look, you get 50,000 annually or whatever the case is as a truck driver, as in garbage truck driver or whatever the case is. If you're still able to provide for your family, I still see you as a successful man. You know what I mean?
But you see, times has changed, and what females are looking at is fine. Okay, we're together. Imagine we start a family. Shit, Pampers is expensive as shit. Having a child, shit, that's a whole investment. That's a
but
ton of
then-
money, and we have to still look at the household, providing for the household and still supporting her, because not all females are going to use their money because they're crazy.
Steph, while you're on that topic, just because you talk about your daughter, just a fun little scenario.
Son.
No,
I
you
have a
say
son.
if he had,
Oh,
no,
if
if
he
he
had
had
a
a
daughter.
daughter,
Okay.
right? Just a fun little scenario.
I ain't
So
going
3
back, though.
P's, right? I think it's a fair metric to judge men, right? Physical attributes, productivity, personality. You would think that's fair?
Sure, why
It,
not?
it covers most
Yeah.
things. So you have your daughter. Which one you telling her to prioritize
Out of the 3?
out of the 3?
I won't necessarily.
Personality, or you can rank them from 1 to 3. Productivity, personality,
Well, if it's the case where she's looking for a man
physicality.
to marry somebody, I think it would be best for her to
Take
marry
into
somebody that is
consideration we're in
productive.
2025 and women like what they like.
Yes, but then you're telling me to rank this according to what I
Yeah.
think my daughter should look for.
Okay,
I don't think she should look for physicality or
rank them.
personality per se. Well,
Well-
definitely must look for personality because you have
Personality
to,
first
yeah.
for you.
But
So personality first.
I never said that.
Big butt.
I never said that.
Go ahead, rank them.
I think productivity, personality, then physical.
Well, it also matters how they're raised in the household itself, what they're accustomed to, what they see, and so forth. Because, I mean, if you're growing in a abusive household,
You know, on the
You-
physical.
No, physical just means looks and heights and these
I know, but no, it's not that. I'm looking at the. I'm looking at the what they'll be attractive to, and sometimes it's so subconsciously that they're not even actually thinking about it. But you're living in an abusive household, you're gonna actually go towards someone who is also abusive, and you're not actually thinking about it. But
Well,
is what you're
subconsciously.
is what you're accustomed to.
Rank what you would recommend for your
This nigga
daughter.
still want me wrong shit.
Yes.
Yeah, what
yes,
you would recommend for your
yes.
daughter? What's the ranking? How you would put them?
I'll say personality.
Okay.
That's
I'll say
one.
personality.
Personality first. Okay.
Personality. Looks will be last,
Okay.
and then the other one.
And then productivity in the
Okay,
middle.
so personality, productivity,
And
then
look-
physical.
Yeah, because
Alright.
I mean personality. If you're
Let's not go into it.
Wait,
Let's see
go
what
ahead,
Jeff.
Okay, for me, I would say the personality, productivity, and then the physical attributes.
Mm.
However, though, the physical attributes is what would attract you. The reason being because
See, you're going too
Yeah.
far. You
No,
didn't
no,
even
no.
make me do
Because-
mine.
No.
But basically, you touch it. Go ahead. Go
Right.
ahead.
Because, for example, you hold your daughter to a standard, right? If she bring a certain guy to you, by default, it's not acceptable, right?
Well, because of looks.
Right.
Okay.
However, in getting to know the person, you might put the looks aside, right?
Mm.
So that's why it varies.
But the first thing
You're gonna
when
look
you
for-
find someone, the first thing you look at is how
Physical,
attractive,
right.
how physically attractive they are. You
That's
understand?
just human nature.
yeah.
That's just human
And
nature. So
then-
it's going to
So
happen.
this is what I'm saying. This is another
personality is the last
pressure
thing.
because now, as a man, most of us going to focus on productivity first and foremost. We want to do something with ourselves so that we can provide for our girl and our children, right? But
As a
then
proper
in
man.
2025, I don't think the way we rank it, it's what's happening. All of us put physicality last, but I think physicality is one or two. For
It's
both girls
actually,
nowadays.
it's the first thing. Is the first thing that female looks at. Is
And
your
it's
physical
fair,
features.
you have to
and
be
then
attracted to the person.
It's your
but-
status, what you can bring to the table, and then shit. To hell with your personality.
It's not even
Yeah,
what you
but
can
then
bring to the table.
that's where things go wrong. You know?
It's not even what you can bring to the table, really.
That's part
That's
of
where
why
things go wrong for you
wrong.
as the man, not for them.
No, because if it's the case where they look at physical first, you can finesse them in that way because you can work on your physical and you draw them in.
Work on your physical.
Yeah,
How you
go to the
work on?
gym.
I would
I mean,
love.
go to
Just an
gym and
autonomy,
them
I
kind
would
of stuff.
love to work on something to make me 6'2".
Well, no.
You say work on physical,
I see what you're saying.
but
I
this
see what
is
you're
fine.
saying. Hey,
but
that
then-
can't be helped.
BBL Drizzy, bro.
But then also, right, as a man, if you're shorter than the girl that you're trying to pursue,
Mhm.
by like there's a 95% chance you're gonna get rejected because
No, but then
you're
look at
shorter.
this. Look at
And
this.
that's where you
now,
come with
if
productivity.
you're short, if it's the case where you're short, then you're looking to pump up the
The
productivity
And the personality.
way up there.
Yeah.
And the personality. You know what I mean? Them
Yeah.
two, they have to be.
Oh,
First
basically,
and
Yeah,
foremost.
you stand on your
So,
money.
Make
You
them
get
laugh.
top.
No,
Yeah,
everything.
you
Make them
exactly.
laugh.
You stand on them bills.
Watch out. Watch out.
Okay, so let's go back to the topic. Do you guys think, from a financial backing, do you guys think that men have more financial issues than women, and why?
How do you say
I do think
financial
so.
issues? Go ahead.
Well,
More men
if-
are in debt, more men are prone to bankruptcy in business in terms of owning business. Men that are operating, they're entrepreneurs, young entrepreneur, are they more fulfilled financially than that of women? What we've seen over COVID, we've seen a rise of entrepreneurship, a lot of small business, and majority of them are females. They're going into whether cosmetics, beauty, fashion, food, we want to get treats and sweets and that kind of stuff. Men, you find men tend to shy away from entrepreneurship unless there is, for instance, inherited business, or if it's a situation where their finances are already set that they decide to open a rent-a-car company or something of that nature.
Right. Okay.
So if men have more
More financial
burden.
issues.
I would think so.
I would, yeah.
I would
I
think
would
so.
more think so.
In 2025, I don't. But go ahead.
No?
Yeah.
No, because I
2025,
think
don't
like
so.
it's the
Come down the
case
line.
where, like, if we're, well, you're saying in 2025,
Yeah.
right? It's still the case where men have to put more forward financially when they're in a relationship or anything.
Let's kind of shy away
so-
from providing.
Oh,
Let's look at
Okay.
financial issues we as men do have
Okay.
to deal with.
So let me touch it. The reason I was saying it in 2025, right? Because, okay, same thing you were saying on the pressure to provide. We say, well, let's move away from that. But then at the same time, we also have, well, from my personal experience, I know lots of women who go on entrepreneurial ventures, nail techs, makeup. You know, sometimes you take a risk to start a business. Sometimes you buy your products, you're not getting business. That's an expense on you. You understand? Sometimes a lot of women, in my experience, single. So, they have to be the one to look about getting their own vehicle. They have to be the one to look about sorting out their groceries and stuff. Another thing we have to look at is the amount of women that are single moms, right? That's not, well, who
No,
fault
but
is
then
that? We
if
can
you want
point
to
a finger.
go that way, is the case where men have to be doing the same thing.
No, so that's why I say in 2025, I don't think is one person have more financial expenses than one. I think, bro, everybody just trying to survive. So everybody
But
trying
then-
to pay their bills.
Also, to add to that, and to basically directly answer his question, I would say more men are under pressure and they put themselves in that situation per se. Because as a man, right, you have a certain status quo, or you're in a certain tax bracket, if you understand where I'm coming from. Most men are gonna try to live that type of lifestyle, as in, the flashy lifestyle. You're gonna try to be sugar daddies, and try to run woman. That kind of vibe, that will drain your pockets quickly if you're not bringing in that income to sustain that. So yeah, that is my take.
Entrepreneurship and so forth. Honestly, I'm not versed in this whole entrepreneur. I'm not gonna be saying things that I don't understand because I don't really fully understand it, and I don't really understand what it means to be a man per se, because that meaning is so many meanings, and you don't even know which one actually to, because it's so different to me in a sense. So yes, I would say men have more financial burden from what I've seen and what I've learned and what I've been taught. But at the same time, as Julius was saying, because now it's more equal and so forth, and females do now outworking and so forth,
Equal.
entrepreneurship and so, they too have financial burden. And, it's 50-50.
You see, what the thing is, right, to me, is the case where men growing up, well, in the Caribbean, I should say, is the case where as soon as we're finished, especially if you're in a middle class family and you don't have it like that, as soon as you finish high school, you're looking to see if you can get a job. We're not looking to see if we can further our education that much, because we want to be able to help support the family, or
It's not only that.
whatever responsibilities is getting put on our shoulders. Because it's the case where a lot of the times, a lot of people coming from single parent families. So you're trying to take some of the burden off of them. And so straight out of school, you're looking to go and get a job so you can make some money.
But it's not
You know
only
what I
that,
mean?
it's actually what Jefferson was saying also. From jumping out of school, you've seen like these flashy clothes, these cars and so forth. You want to actually get to that lifestyle quickly. You want to impress.
Mhm.
You understand?
You're not
So
taking it time.
you now are putting yourself in burden
Under
because
pressure.
Yeah.
you want to go out to work, not only just to support, but you want those image. You want people to see you in that light. You understand?
Yeah,
So
man.
it's not like you want to actually go back to school and say, no. You want to live the life fast. You want to live it right away. And sometimes we jump into it not knowing, how life is, because we weren't really taught.
Yeah.
In school, they don't teach you reality. They don't teach you that in school. You understand?
Yeah.
It's based on experience. You have to go out and you have to learn it on your own. And so they don't teach you those shit in school.
But then, Stefan, to your previous point, right, where you're saying that women are now having to spend, or on whatever the case is, as in they have more financial burden as well. Their financial burden, 95% of the time, is their physical appearance. While
But we want a woman that look good.
don't get me wrong.
Hell yeah.
Don't get me wrong. However, you still have to as a man, you have to give yourself and the responsibilities that comes as a man. But the women mostly take care of themselves.
No, but we overdo as men. We flashy. We want
Yeah,
we want to
probably-
impress so much.
It probably go back to, again, this whole thing about pressure. You understand? You grow up where you told, you need to, find a job to take care of your woman and your kids. So then we grow up, we're working, and every day we're paying for it. Everywhere we go, you're the one swiping your card. You understand? Meanwhile, what is she doing? It's 2025. Of course, she's not home cooking and cleaning. She's out working. Nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
she's also saving her money.
Yeah, but we
You
accept
understand?
that.
So then when I think about what Jefferson say, some of these guys, they honestly put themselves in
Exactly,
this
yeah,
situation.
exactly.
As
Because
men, we accept
it
that.
is supposed to be an equal partnership, and I'm the one doing
Not necessarily
all this
equal,
stuff.
though.
It's not about equal now because listen, you go out, you're gonna put your card. You understand? Even if she said, "Babe, let me pay for this," you're gonna put your card.
No,
You're
for
gonna
real,
insist
I do that.
on paying for everything.
For real, I
If you
do
have
that.
to travel, you're gonna insist. Okay, let me buy everything.
Yeah,
everything
something-
is always okay. Let me do it. Let me do it. Let me do it.
Yeah,
you
like
never
when-
even ask.
Like when I go on dinner and stuff, bro, I it's not even like people gonna say, "Oh, it's tricking." Like I just don't feel right saying like, "Yo, come, let's go get something to eat," and then I'm like, "Okay, yeah." So I'll put 50, you put 50.
But it also depends on the person that you're dealing with, though, because sometimes they would insist on paying.
No, even if they insist, I'm like, yo,
Yeah, you
it's
still
all right.
force
just,
it.
Just relax.
Well, you see,
no,
that-
I
that
can't
is you.
treat you. I
That is
can't, I
you.
can't afford it.
but
So
that's
poor already.
majority of men. You just force it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
To disagree with all the points mentioned.
Everyone's different.
Huh?
Everyone is different.
Yeah, everyone is different, but I was expecting more from a personal end, you, and as a general end, because I feel like men in general are not as financially stressed as women, if we're being honest. A woman has to do 60 different things with her paycheck. Men
Such
tend
as?
men tend to here, makeup, nails, this, that, all
Who you think
everything,
pay for
all
them?
but wait, no, I'm not talking about how, again, I don't want you to look at it from as a burden. How do you, as a man, incur financial problems? Women are more highly in debt. Women quicker go and borrow from courts, borrow from this, take from that. They're quicker to be in debt.
To fund
Women
what?
are
To fund what?
Huh?
More than likely is your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Physical
No,
appearance.
what I wanted to put to the forefront is the fact that when you look at it holistically from a financial backing, you have to pay attention to the decisions men make. Men make financial decisions that are going to be long term. Females do it for short term.
See,
And so you find that they are more pressured and more in disarray when it comes to financial stability. They're more in disarray. I feel like us as men, we need to start to look at how we actually do things, because you would go into courts and you go for microwave. That is what you're going for. She want the microwave. The
Yo.
hot home, curling iron, everything
Nah,
that-
like-
Yo, sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna make you finish, right? Big man, growing up with my mom, every time we shop, Chelsea, that's what she called me. None of y'all call me that shit. Chelsea? You say, come into the shop. Let's buy some milk. Bro, milk. Woman walk in the shop, come out with a bag of groceries. Partner, I've never seen my mom go in a store to say what she going for and come back with that one item.
You see, and where that
I
stems
have
from,
never seen
that
it.
stems
Never.
from caregiving. A caregiver is not going to go into a space and just see a milk and purchase a milk because she know how tidy paper.
Caregivers'
She know that,
pockets need to be long.
this room need one air freshener, and if she sees that she has it, she's going to get it there. Not taking into consideration that tomorrow the guy coming to cut the yard, so that money you need to put towards.
okay.
Yeah,
so,
but who's doing
hold
that?
on.
The man.
So that I was sitting here and listening to some of the stuff that you guys were saying, and I can't agree with some of them for myself.
Mhm.
Not speaking on a general, like he was saying. It's the case where I think more logically. And when I think about the way my finances and how I have to spend my money, is the case where I think about the important things first. So we get paid weekly at the hotel,
Work.
right? So it's the case where every week I have something that my money is going towards.
Fair enough.
You understand? I have to save this amount. I have to put this amount for bills. I have to put this amount for my son going to school and so on. So I have to buy snacks and all those kind of stuff. I have to put this amount for general groceries. I have to put this amount for, so I try to break down my money. So it's the case where I can't ball like that because I have responsibilities.
Fair.
You know what I mean? I already said to myself that I don't want my son to live this kind of way, the way that I grew up. You understand? So I have to make sacrifices and those kind of stuff. So
But-
certain things
but
you're
them
not
on-
going to see
on-
me doing.
Okay.
But even
You know what I mean?
spending his
What time?
money on a woman, that spend is actually a long term as opposed to a short term. You're not going to spend your money on a woman that you don't have any
Interesting.
not only interest but interest in going further.
I would disagree with that.
I was about to say that.
I would disagree
with that
Listen,
at some
listen,
point
in
too.
terms of an investment, if a lady that you meet today asks for $50, I mean, okay, hey, I can understand.
You
but you're
don't
not going
know,
to give
man.
her $5,000 because you just meet you today, she look good and
Okay,
Nah,
I guess
you
it relates
don't
to how much you
understand
earn as
these
well.
men today.
You understand?
You don't
because
understand
you have to take into consideration, bro, the amount of women that make a living on OnlyFans because men just fund it, bro.
right?
Like literally, women making millions a month.
I saw
understand?
the
and
stuff
again,
where
from there, the men's perspective, it is an investment. It is what return.
How is that a long-term investment?
No,
It's a
no,
long-term
that's
investment for them.
no, that is just in the moment.
Nah,
This is not
this
long
sick,
term.
bro.
I am a shopaholic. Avid shopaholic. I can tell anybody that. And anybody that knows me knows that. And I say this to say, retail therapy is an investment for me, to myself. And so what a lot of men, we don't have the avenues. Not saying that we don't have a lot of avenues. There are a lot of avenues, a lot of opportunities. However, they're not easily afforded to us. Because again, stature, position in society and all that good stuff. However, I think if a man invests $5,000 into OnlyFans, there has to be some form of returns. for
What
him.
return?
Not
A
necessarily.
picture?
Some form
A
of
video?
necessarily.
return.
Nah,
That's
just
what you get.
thirstiness,
It's the
bro.
case where a
He
lot of
just
people,
thirsty.
a lot of people.
look.
For you, it is not a good investment. But
Yeah.
when that same man turn on and see you pumping your money into snacks or whatever you say, you put your money into. For him, he probably
No.
looking at you like,
Look, I highly disagree. You understand? Men, we do invest, but we don't think about long term all the time. You understand? And we will happily invest a lot of money in the moment. Which I
let's
get.
talk about you. Do you invest?
No, I held to the
Long-term?
no. Yeah, I will invest long term.
So
I
that's-
invested
that is
long
all that
term.
is important.
No,
Like,
no.
your take
But
on
wait,
how you-
no, we're talking about generally right now, and not just about me, but what I've seen majority of men actually do. You understand? So he was talking about OnlyFans. Check it. There's this WNBA player who is now on OnlyFans, and one guy donated $5 million.
Oh yeah, I heard
And
about
$5
that.
million
Where
was
is it?
nothing for him. Comes on now. Let me ask you a question. How many, in terms of percentage, how many men own land over women? How many men own vehicles over women?
But
How
that's
many
gonna
men-
that's gonna
How
change
many men
eventually.
bought these for the woman? How many men?
Again, the question is the financial problems men have.
We
Not
have
the
a lot.
financial,
Basically, we
not
have
the
a lot.
burdens that men. How you have a lot?
Because
Nah,
we
man,
No, because
I don't think one have more than one.
Huh? I wouldn't say that one have more than
Yeah.
one, but one is a bit more.
If you're saying that women are prone to spending money all willy-nilly, I hear that. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a financial burden, because saying, yo, I have to do my hair, as in putting braids and all these things. I have to do my makeup. I have to do my nails.
But they
These
have
are
to.
not things you have to do.
Yeah, they have to.
You understand? For them, they want to do
No,
that,
no,
so
no.
they do it. They
No, they
spend the
have
money
to.
and they
It is
do
not a have to. It's
No,
not a
no.
must.
They have to. You know why?
Why?
Because you would not look on them if they don't.
I did.
Nah.
I did.
Well, that's not true.
No.
I hear that.
That's
argument.
not true.
Okay, you're different. I don't like
Right,
the makeup. Right?
I hear
but
that.
Me neither.
majority of men, to hell what y'all say, if a female does not have that physical appearance, a man doesn't look on her. You understand? When a woman walk across in a nice dress, hair done, makeup on, everything on, you like, damn, look at that body, the boy, look at that woman.
Okay.
Can I say
that.
this?
So I think
If,
okay, go ahead.
if
hear
a
that.
female walk down the road, hair nappy, all and you don't look back, you're like, what is that?
Can I say this?
Go ahead.
If the woman is wearing her natural hair done properly, her nails clean without polish and all that stuff, that is way more attractive to me than the long nails.
Yeah, because it means
the
that she
wig
have
and that kind of thing,
cleanliness and all
makeup. That is way, the natural beauty is way
I
more attractive for
understand.
me
I
personally.
understand. Because, okay, we think differently.
Exactly,
You understand?
everybody does.
Yeah, but it's just what men prefer. Like,
I mean,
female have
okay.
their preference.
What the things that
but
you're
us
saying,
men,
it would draw your attention. You
Short
understand?
term.
Most men, it will draw their attention. You understand? Yes, if I see a woman passing by in a nice dress, her hair done, nails done, everything did. Yeah, I'm look at her, whatever the case is. But it's the case where, for me, for one, I hate when I see a girl's face look caked up because she have on too much makeup. I
Okay.
hate that shit.
That is true.
I don't,
You
I don't
understand?
want
So-
to stray too much, right? Because okay, I get it. Some men like to see women with makeup and all.
Yeah,
these
but we're
type of
just
things.
thinking as men.
But wait,
Hold
hold
on.
on there. This can be like a separate pressure for women specifically. The need to like meet a specific beauty standards for men. That could be like their struggle. That's not always struggle.
True.
When it comes back to the financial question you was asking, them doing that feeling they have to keep up with their maintenance with nails and hair and makeup. That's what they want to do. They don't have to do that. They're thinking logically and they, like Devon was explaining, thinking about the money they're making and all these things. They would think, okay, you know what? Nah.
So my question to you,
Go
do you
ahead.
think that men are more financially literate than women? Because of what your statement that you just made. When financial literacy within our community, well, men in particular, do you find that men are more financially literate as opposed to women? Because we don't invest a lot of the time and energy on
It depends.
beauty.
You know,
It
it
depends.
depends real.
It depends. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it do
it depends.
depends.
I can see how it depends.
Yeah,
but
it
I
do
wanna hear
depends,
your take
because-
on it.
It's the case where a lot of black men, let me do that specifically,
Emphasize.
because it's the case where we spend a lot of money on bling and cars and these kind of
Come back
stuff.
to what I was saying, to live
You
in
know
a
what I
flashy
mean?
life.
So yeah, the flashy life. So it's the case where some men don't think like that. Some men, when
Is
we
it that they don't know, or they
It's
just
not that they don't know.
They're ignorant to it.
it's not that
No,
they don't
for
know
me-
or they're ignorant to it. It's just that some people just think different.
Not for me.
Something's not as important to some people than some, you know?
Until it
For
becomes
me
important.
personally, I think men are more literate. Well, it depends. It really depends. For me, I would think, okay, fine. I want to live that flashy life. How am I going to get the money to live that flashy life? Okay. Am I going to start a business? Okay. If I do start a business, how far into the business I'm going to go? If I'm going to invest everything that I have in order to gain that financial support in order to live that flashy life. Because, yeah, we want to live that flashy life. I don't mind. But I want to actually also have a status.
You want
Because I want to say, okay, I have this. So I can pick and choose whoever I want, however I want to live my life. I'm going to spend it more on land, maybe invest in a company,
So-
buying vehicles and so forth.
you're looking for stability.
Yeah, because I want to live.
That's what
we
most
wanna-
men should look for, I think.
financial literacy is a two-headed sword on both ends. Why?
Yeah.
because
females tend to. Females are more. It is said that females are more capable of spending the money the right way. In terms of if you give them 100, they're able to make that $100 work.
It depends
That's
on
what
the
it is.
females.
Man, you're going. How much is that? $100 for that bottle, and I'm gonna buy that flat out. A woman wants to know: does it come with the stand? Does it come with the shelf and the plywood behind it? No problem. So I think it's about, at the end of the day too. I still think men are a little bit more financially sound in terms of the amount of things that they prioritize on.
I
feel like we don't wanna
wonder
be
if it's a
stressed
more
about all
like
that.
like an in-depth issue. Like, you know, when I don't know, everybody hears, oh, men are rational, women are emotional. Probably something coming up from your little I always think, I don't have kids yet, but I always think, like, if I had a son, I'll tell my son, no, you don't do that. You know, I'll be more stern with him.
Mhm.
But if I had, now I tell my partner, like, bro, if we have a daughter, you need to be the one to discipline, because me, I'm going to be like, oh, princess wants this. All right, here you go. You know,
But it's
I'm
actually the
like,
truth.
whatever princess is going to get. So I wonder if, like, if some women are raised like this, if like long term when you're adults, you still like that's so ingrained in your mental, right? That okay, yo, I want my nails done, so I have to get my nails done, even if like the finances not there for it. You're
They
just
will
like,
find different means and ways.
I have to get it. But on
it goes back to priority.
Right.
yeah, but even on your question, like I don't think it more inclined to one side because again, like I've met women that, bro, they really good with spending money, bro. You check, they give me advice about like, you know, how to save, what to do, this and that, like QuickBooks, things with business. Bro, I know a lot of females that are like locticians, hairstylists, they do makeup, they do nails, they do massages and stuff. And I'm like, bro, I know more entrepreneurial women than entrepreneurial guys. You know, I know more
We're so
guys.
simple.
I don't know if it's a case where probably us guys busy going to the gym while the women starting businesses in
No, but then
2025.
it's like what I've been telling you, and this happens in mostly when I'm speaking about it. I'm talking about here where we live, right? Most men here is the case where as soon as we're finished from high school, we go straight into a job, and that is where we stay. You understand? Even if you move and you go to another job, it's the case where we're always working. So it's not the case where it's not the case
we
where
can focus on
we
passions.
can focus on these other things that we have to do, because while we're working, we meet up with this young lady, we get into a situation, we have kids, wherever the case is. Now that is another thing that we have to focus on. So it's not the case where we have that much. I don't think we have that much time to think about all these other things. I mean, if an idea come up, then you can try your best and see if you can go and do this. But then we're going to be thinking, okay, what if this don't even work out? A lot of people, because of that, the doubt that you have in your mind is what actually keep you down and you don't jump forward for do this thing.
You know,
The reason why we have a lot of women that did entrepreneurial stuff, especially in COVID as well. That's why that jump so high, because at that time you had so much time on your hand because you're not going out to work and so on. You have more time at home. You can think about things and how to steps that you can make this.
All right, let me give
You know
a
what I
different
mean?
perspective. When you were saying that men, we just jump right into work. You know, sometimes I feel like it's not actually we jump into it because we want to. It's more.
It's not because we want to.
It's more like we jump into it because if you look, okay, where we're living now in the Caribbean, if you look at most men, we don't the background, how we are raised, we don't actually go through school thinking, hi, I'm gonna want to actually further my education. The percentage is so small.
At 18. Gotta get
The
out.
reason being, and as I was saying in the beginning, is how that missing fathers in the household. You understand? So we actually look for a role model, someone to look up to. And where we're living, ain't much to look up to. You understand? So we look up to the gangsters, people who have their pants over their shoulder, and so forth. You understand?
Wait, what?
And
The pants over the shoulder. Hold
yeah,
on.
'cause-
Over the shoulder?
yeah, you don't feel like they're even wearing the damn pants. You understand? And we jump. Okay, these are people who we're looking up to. These are people our role models, who we want to be. You understand? So we're going out to, we don't even get a chance to finish school. We just drop out of school.
That's what I'm saying.
We drop out of school, and it's not even to support no one. It ain't to support anybody.
Just
You
to
understand?
support yourself.
It's not even
That's
to
the
support
thing.
yourself. Sometimes it's to gain something for.
I think it's just to fit in.
Yeah,
It's coming from, you find most persons coming from a poverty prone area and environment. You find that their actions are not necessarily what because if you speak to them, they want to become pilots and all this good stuff. But because of how the system is set up where they're coming from, it doesn't allow them to see the opportunity as something that is tangible, as something that you can actually get.
That's exactly what I'm saying, guys. That's exactly what I'm saying. We don't have that much opportunity to do a lot of things because our life is not set like that. You understand?
So it's just the
We don't-
circumstances that we're
Yeah, it's
not
not the
about-
circumstances that we're in.
Yeah, because as you said, you know, as a father, I'm actually saving towards my child. It's not even for him if he wants to go to university. If he wants to, then the money's there. If he wants to open his business, the money's there. But at a certain age, the money's there for you to do whatever you feel you
I
want
don't
to
even
do.
think it should be if you want to. That's the problem black people have. They give you options if you want to. Is that you should. If you look at the other races, one of the things that they implement is structure in terms of growing. When a Caucasian young man leaves high school, the next thing he looks at is to get into some kind of Ivy College, some kind of something to play football. It's to play football out, or it's to just to be on the dorms.
Yeah, but if you
They
look,
aspire to not because of what they want, but because of what they know and what it should be. We as black people have opened this door, whereas we give you too much, and so the children have a lot to say to the point where now they go against morals and values that you are trying to instill. Whether or not you are indoctrinating this, if you don't tell the child that, or show the child indirectly how important education is, he or she is never going to ever want to aspire to that because
okay,
But can I say
yes,
this?
but even one moment, even if I'm forcing him, why should
it's
I?
not forcing.
No, it's actually forcing.
No.
No,
It's
you
not
are forcing.
You're putting the ground where you're telling the child that education is important. And
Education
so the higher
is-
you can go in it, the better life will become for you. You're not telling the child, hello, you have to, you must, or whatever.
But no,
you
as black
instill
people, that's
the
what we're
importance.
doing. No. As black people, that's what we're doing. You understand? As black people, we're saying, yo, you have to go to school because this is what you need to be, and this is what you need to do, and this. We're actually forcing our child to actually do certain things. We're not actually saying, okay, I'm gonna support you. Okay, this is how it should be. If you go to school, this is a life that you can live. You understand? This is what it. This is how. This is what society shows you, and so forth. But as black people, we're forcing. Oh, if you don't do your homework, I'm gonna knock you. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. We're forcing the child to do something that they're not even.
Go ahead,
No,
Joe.
but it's for me. That's what I'm seeing in the Caribbean. Understand? It's not like we're instilling education is the key to success. Education, no, we're telling them, yeah, if you have education, you go up on the street and this and that, or if you get this subject, you know, get this. If you do this, you know, get. It's basically we're telling them, hey, you need to go to school or you get what I'm gonna reward you with. We're not actually teaching them. This is what education actually can give you, and it's actually what they're looking up to. You as a parent, you don't even have that education, but you're telling me that education can get me somewhere. So why didn't you follow up on that opportunity?
Yeah, but
why
then
did
us
you
as
drop out?
parents, it's a case where we don't want our kids to be in the same situation that we're in.
True, but
So-
we're forcing them on a
No, but
life
then
that
it's
we
not about
never even.
force. It's the case where you have to explain to them, sit with them, and let them understand that if they don't go through school and learn different things, it's the case where they're
But
not
we don't
going to
always do
And
that
in
somewhere.
2025, I think
You know what I mean?
we damn well need to force them. We need to force them.
No,
because
but then
No, real talk.
when you're forcing it on them, they're not doing it because they want to. They're
Yeah.
doing it because they have to, so they
Yeah.
just
And
go
they're
to
gonna
do
move
But at
away
the
from
end of
it.
the day, you
No.
have it to play.
Not necessarily.
A child that has it and a child that doesn't has it is at two total different
No, but I think
vantage points.
like you have to on that point you have to reason with them. He said force them to, but you have to reason
So
with
in
them.
this day and age,
Reason with them.
you
Like-
have to force it, and there's the way to enforce it is you're not going to push it down their throat, but you have to force it in the sense of showing them, not sitting them down and talking to them. This generation doesn't do very well communicating.
Well, on that point, because
But I feel like our mind,
It comes from you as a parent
Okay.
in regards to communication, though. If you opened, create the environment for them to be able to communicate to you,
Right.
do you think you would have a
Right.
problem with communicating with them?
Right, because I was just gonna share some personally because my little brother, 19, right in this generation, love his cricket, passionate about his cricket. I grew up playing football. I've seen a lot of people focus solely on football and not have a plan B. Football didn't work out. They have to basically start their life from scratch
Yeah.
as a man, thinking about job and way to make money and stuff. From a very early age, myself, my parents, let my little brother know, bro, you need a plan B. You understand? We're going to provide you all the tools. If you need a ride, you call dad, you call me, but you need a plan B. And then he went into culinary. You understand? So now it's a case where, okay, if the cricket don't work out, at least he already jumpstart the culinary stuff. Back to what Jefferson was saying, it's like that environment of communication and reasoning. You understand? So he just understand compared to his peers, because he
Yeah.
have peers that just focus on the cricket. You understand?
But yeah,
And then
Wait, you don't want
in regards to opportunities as well.
Yeah.
Back to what the person behind the camera was saying. When you spoke about the Ivy colleges and stuff out there in the Caribbean, the options are very limited. If you
That's
understand where
why I
I'm coming
keep on
from.
saying,
so low.
So,
This is the
for example, you want to
Caribbean.
go to college, yes, and then you want to go into sports. However, there's not much opportunities in the Caribbean where we live that you're able to go into sporting activities
I
and
feel
stuff like
not
that.
to be a lie.
Yeah.
Name a few for me.
There are a lot of opportunities that
I'm
come
listening.
from
To
the
who?
Caribbean.
I'm
But
listening.
for who?
However, it is not easily accessible. Why? Because we as a nation and as a people, we do not put things in place to provide for that.
The opportunities that are not readily
Yeah, but then
available.
you're telling-
I am a representation of such opportunities. I went to the most prestigious secondary school on the island, yes. But I went to one of the schools that is deemed the worst school on the island. And I came out successfully, not because of my family and my home, but because I understood the importance of education. And so by the time I got to the level where it was now to further my studies, I had that inclination. I understood. I wanted to be an architect. I'm like growing up as a young boy in school, I wanted to be an architect, and you can't drive onto a frame. However, I think what had happened is that installment that happened from a tender age that showed me, in order for you to get that, you have to do this. In order for you to get this, you have to do that. In order for you to get this,
And
it
that's
happens
exactly-
each one of us had gone through it.
That's
In order for you to
exactly
get the
what
second
you
form,
need to
had
teach
the
them.
complete first form.
That's exactly what you need to teach them. You
No,
need
but
to
we are
teach
taught-
them in a
we are
real
taught
way.
that indirectly, we are taught that in order for you to get to the next level, what do you have to pass that one level?
Yes,
We are
but
taught. So
as a
indirectly,
man, you teaching your child, everything don't have to be indirect. You have to be direct with your kids. You
What's
have
the
to let
difference
them
in
know
direct?
exactly
so when
where
we
they
say
have to
direct,
go.
you have to force them.
No,
When
I
say
don't
No,
mean
it's
force
not
them,
about
by
I mean
forcing.
direct pressure. You have
No,
to
no,
apply
no,
that
no, no, no,
direct
no.
pressure.
Being direct don't mean that you have to be putting pressure on them. That's never the thing that you
solution.
should do. That's
I
never
think-
the solution.
No, because-
Come
if
on,
you
you mean like
forcing
give them the reality?
yeah,
Give them-
like
okay.
Okay, let's
speak
look
to
at
them. Let
Africans.
them know exactly what they're going to be getting
okay,
themselves
so
into.
First off, because what Devon is saying, you don't have to force them. Because growing up, you understand? My mother died. My father took me, and I live with his side of the family now, and certain things I never used to understand. You understand? School was very difficult for me back then. I never used to understand certain things. Instead of actually, sit down, showing me, go through it as a parent, you know what they do? You hit the child. You basically for me, it's not a really abuse, but you basically hit the child. If you don't understand it, you hit him. You don't actually teach to try and make understand.
Have you ever encountered a teacher at school that walked with you and encouraged you and motivated you and pushed you
Yep.
indirectly?
Indirectly.
Oh, indirectly.
No.
Shit, the teacher.
All teachers do it. All teachers do it because it is an action of a teacher. That's what a teacher that not because I teach this class, that means that I cannot school or I cannot represent or I cannot stand in the gap for this particular teacher.
Yeah, but a teacher cannot teach you everything.
No, Stefan, I can agree
At
with you
home,
with
it's-
regards to. I think the incorrect term our word used is force. But when I meant force, I meant to apply pressure to not just to say or have that back and forth with the child, what, when, where, how, and why, but to say to the child, this is what is expected of you. This is what has to happen in order for us to get the cricket I need you to have this in life.
Yeah, but
saying it is one thing. You just can't one time you sit down one time and just, hey, this is what you do and
No,
this is
it's
what
a-
you need to go.
it's-
And
it's-
it
it's
actually
a-
instilling you.
It's a progressive thing. It's something
you
have
cannot
to
say it one
you have
time
to
and then just
grow up.
leave it like that.
You have to grow up with it. But
So
yeah,
education, would you deem education as one of the issues men are having?
Yeah, and it's actually true. Men are facing a lot
Yeah.
with education. And
Yeah.
it's not only just, as I said, it's not
The
with the
ability to
school.
learn.
It's not with the ability to learn per se. It's not just
The
about the school,
opportunities.
but it's also at home. You understand? They're missing that father figure at home, someone
To keep them
they can
grounded.
look up to,
keep them
right?
grounded.
Someone they can look up to. Now, as a boy, you ain't gonna look up to your mother in that aspect.
But let me be the devil's advocate. We've seen a rise on, of course, single parents, whether it be male, the father or the mother. We've seen a rise, and that has happened for the last 3 decades. Now, do you think by now we are somewhat seasoned or we have somewhat adapted to single parenthood or single parenting households, and we are now, the generation is now finding ways around that, oh, a father figure is not in my life and so I have to act out? Because I feel like that's an excuse we use when the society uses, and that's a blame that society puts on the delinquent
No,
youths
it's not.
of today.
I want-
But is it a situation where now, it's just like evolution, they are now evolving to go without? Because if you never know this father, although you have a father, if you have a coach, some of them have football coaches that no matter if you tell them the football coach, he lie, thief, whatever, to them, that man up there like, whoa, and next to Christ.
Because you've
but
shown,
as you
you've
said, it's a
supported them and
father
shown them.
figure. No, there's certain things a man can teach, and there's certain things a woman can teach. You
Yeah, but then
understand?
that person doesn't carry, that doesn't go, that doesn't leave the field, it doesn't go home.
No, but he doesn't have that figure itself at home. Now he's seen you in person. You're that man. You're the father to him.
That he
You
can look
understand?
up to.
Yeah. No, you're the person he look up to. You're the person he's learning from. He doesn't have that at home. There's so many things, so much things you can learn from your mother. But you need that man in your life.
At some point.
Yeah, you need that man in your life to ground you, to teach you certain things that a female cannot teach you. You understand? And you're saying, the question you were saying about when shit, I forget what you were saying.
Wait, but
It passed me.
we cover a lot of stuff, right? And I like, because bro, we cover pressures for finances, cover
Physical
physicality,
attributes.
what you're attracted to, should you be productive, personality, and the other one. Then we were just talking about education. So with all these things
To sum
that
it
we
up.
think a man has to aspire to, do you think that we should be focusing on love if we don't have these things in place?
In my opinion, love shouldn't be your sole objective. However, if while you're trying to achieve something and it happens to come about, you can let the person know that that's what I'm trying to achieve. However, if they agree to be by your side until then, or to just assist you in whatever way that they possibly can, if they agree to do that, then fine. But if it goes against your objective of you trying to better yourself, then there's no need for it, in my opinion.
I think you should. I think we should achieve love. I really do think so.
So we should have these things in place before we focus on love.
But you cannot be broken dating though. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, like
As a man,
it's not
growing
just
up-
about dating.
No,
Love is not about
realistically, you
dating.
can.
Love is not
You
about.
can.
It's not just about dating and so forth.
I understand
I feel
that, but
like
like, check this, right? Like, growing up is the case where I didn't want to get married before I have a lot of things in place. You understand? Because as a man, it's the case where before I got married, I wanted to get house, car, land, all these other things that I think is important to sustain a relationship before I actually got into it.
Yeah, but
That's not how it worked out.
yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
That's
all
not
the
how
time.
it worked out. But is the case where even now I'm still trying to get those things in place so I can have stability.
Yeah, but time is gonna
my
get away
life
from
and,
you. Time is gonna
my
get away from
family
you.
life.
Time is your biggest enemy
It
right
is.
now.
Which
Once-
is why men are supposed to be working towards those things when they're young. So
But it's
that
hard.
by
Okay.
the time you reach 35, whatever the case is, you'd be
Yeah,
able
but you
to
have so
pursue
much.
other
You have
things.
so much to work on. So much.
So
to
much going
actually
on
to
at that
achieve.
time.
You're not even thinking about
Marriage.
the marriage part. What I need to get before I get married. You're actually
Okay.
thinking about the moment you're actually
I
living
have
in.
this thing, right? And I want y'all to tell me what you think about it. The editor will put it up for the viewers, right? So, Steph, I guess you can just edit out.
Consider getting married. 35 years old, had slept with at least 50 women, 100K per year, you're in shape, and you got 6 months to 1 year of savings. As a man, what age should you consider getting married? 35 years old, had slept with at least 50 women, 100K per year, you're in shape, and you got 6 months to 1 year of savings.
Okay,
All right.
some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
What is the age that you would like to be married at?
Let's go around. So basically,
Just to bring it to
before
a close.
getting married, he was basically saying 35 years of age, slept with had 50 partners,
At least.
earning 100K,
And savings. Savings.
some savings in the bank, and you
6
hit the
months to a
gym and
year.
you're physical. How much is that you agree with? How much of that you disagree with? Is it necessary? Is it not necessary?
I agree with the savings. I agree with the
As a man, what age should you
what was it? The how much money he say?
100K.
Earning
100K. What
annually.
was that? A year?
Yeah.
Annually, yeah.
Annually.
Okay, and the 35 age range. That's good to me,
How about the physicality?
marriage.
Say you have to be fit.
bro. That's not.
How about
It's
the
a-
partners?
It's something that you should do,
By
but
default.
to me, it's not necessary.
what
it's
about the
not
partners?
necessary. Partners, definitely not. I don't believe that. I
Okay.
don't believe
Sleep
that
with
at
50
all.
Okay,
people.
so
God damn.
okay, you know what? Tell me what you think, Joe.
In regards to the savings, 6 months to a year, that sounds reasonable. That's pretty much an emergency savings, just in case something arise. In terms of the age I would like to get married by, whenever.
Whenever.
Because it could happen within the next 2-3 years. Who knows?
Mm.
I will not be 30 by then. Rather was 35, but yeah,
Yeah.
it depends. Slept with at least 50 partners, that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I mean,
So yeah.
Mhm.
Because I could feel comfortable with that person. And then the things that I would have done and experienced with them, it doesn't matter to experience that with somebody
Okay.
else.
Yeah.
Don't touch too much on that point because I think I understand what he's trying to get at when he says 50 partners.
Just experiencing.
So
Yeah.
basically,
Right.
what you think, Stefan?
yeah, the
Just
savings, the annual fee. I mean,
In this day and age, in this current
yeah, but
economy,
the
right.
age is
Not
not even
relevant.
the age is irrelevant.
Uh-huh.
It is.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
it's not necessary.
You can marry that. Old people are marrying at 60 and these kind of places. Yeah.
Okay.
Love,
So-
you find love at different age. You understand?
So I basically agree with y'all, and I too I have contention with the 50 partner things. But I think what he was probably getting at is just having that experience of knowing like what you want. Do you think that's important as a man to know what you want?
Well, yeah.
So you
of
have to
course.
have 50 or more
No,
partners
he
before you
being
know what you
ridiculous.
want.
Yeah, I understand.
That's
but
what I'm
I
saying.
just
That's
mean in the sense of like knowing what you want, your expectations for a partner, because most of us we probably think about relationships. Okay, if you get into a relationship, you're gonna be monogamous, most likely.
Mhm.
You don't want to be a victim of you not knowing what you want from your partner, and then because you get the slightest bit of temptation, you're ready to risk your relationship because you've never experienced this, so you really want to.
No,
And
well, you
the
see,
anticipation
when
and
you're
stuff.
you can get married. You don't have to have so many things to actually get married. The love and the physical attractiveness is fine, and then as partners, you can actually grow. You can actually get on the level so
Work towards certain
successful. You understand?
agree.
As your partner, you can have the house, the cars, the finances, and so forth. You don't need all that to get into marriage.
Mhm.
It
I
will be
agree.
it will be good. You understand, to have that, so you don't have to really focus on that, and you can you can focus on something else, gaining something else, but you don't necessarily need all that.
You see,
to
when
actually
I
get
was
in.
saying that, I was coming from more of a place where, of my experiences of where, how I grew up. Because it's a case where, like I said, I grew up with my mom and her having to pay, we call it rent and all these kind of stuff. And it was hard, bro. You understand? It was hard. And that's not the kind of the life that I want to live. You know what I mean? I want to be able to have stability where I don't have to be moving here, there, and everywhere. I don't have to be renting a house. And then this person can come today
Okay.
and give me a notice and say, oh, I have to get out the house.
But if love
And,
comes
what I
around,
mean?
what are you gonna do? Give it up?
I'm not
Because you don't
necessarily
have
saying
all
that
these
you have to
things?
give up love. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to give up love.
Yeah,
But you can explain to the person, look, I have a mission and this is where I want to get. This is what I want to do.
yeah, but
And if she is on the same wavelength as you, if she agrees with your vision and wants to follow you, what's the problem? She would be able to follow you.
Going back to the question Julian asked with regards to love and having these certain little things in place. I feel like if I'm going to respond to a question like that, I have to go back to the biblical, and sorry for being the devil's advocate, but biblical representation here tonight. I strongly believe that although the man is the head of any household, of course, there is Christ at the helm. And I think that a man's duty from birth to the end of life should be that of providing comfortably, not just for himself, not just for his family, but for the people that he comes into contact with. And so it goes back, me going back to what Julian asked, if love is, I feel like love has no time, no place, no when, no love, not understand how to do things. But when it does come, it is with great hopes that you as a man understand how important good finance is, good values and home morals are. So you don't have to have 50 and 60 partners before finding out what you really want. It also is very important to align yourself with structure in terms of education, having some form of education, having some form of plan, sense of direction. And so that with love, as Stefan said, you can nurture and build a relationship, a meaningful relationship with your partner that is going to encompass her beliefs and your beliefs to create a proper household, a household at the end of the day.
Yeah, well said. But my drink done. So you don't know. I don't know if you guys want to touch on anything, man. It was productive, not as hot as the relationship topics, but I feel like it's conversation that need to be had.
Yeah, man.
I definitely enjoyed the conversation tonight.
Get some of the things that I had on my mind off.
Yeah.
Pertaining to what we go through on a regular as men, and just the thoughts and so on.
Because I mean, everybody's gonna look at it differently. Everybody have their own thoughts about it and so forth.
Yeah,
so just how we think about it.
Yeah. We thank Jeff for filling in tonight.
Don't make it a habit.
Yeah, but fellas, it was a good talk. Oh man, so excited about this.
Yeah, so I mean,
gonna end this.
We gotta go. Thanks for tuning in
Bang.
to Mental Break. Like, subscribe, and please leave your comments. Let us know what you want to see us change, what you want to see us